What's going on, Geekdom? This is Chipmunk. We're going to be doing a discussion around WWE and the weird storylines they're going with when it comes to the matchups for WrestleMania. Man, it's been pretty rough. It's been pretty rough. These storylines are wild. I know a lot of people been talking about them. Recently, Pat McAfee has showed up, and people hated that whole segment. I think it's crazy because I was like, it wouldn't. It's just stuff with these stories do not make sense at all. You had Cody having a segment with Stephanie McMahon. She came out and they did a whole segment together, and I was like, it doesn't make that much sense for why Stephanie McMahon would care too much about Cody, but I guess whatever. It's ridiculous, but that doesn't make sense. And then my initial thought was, should have been probably Triple H or somebody close to Cody, maybe. It would have made a lot more sense into the whole thing, but I was like, I don't know. And then seeing the whole thing with Pat McAfee coming out and helping Randy Orton and Pat McAfee being the voice in Randy's head. I was like, that doesn't make sense. Still, it's like the story doesn't make sense for what of y'all. Who are y'all bringing into these stories? And then I was like, I thought about Triple H again. And I was like, it'd have been even wilder. Like, to help out the segment from SmackDown that didn't typically make that much sense with Stephanie. You could have had Triple H be the voice in Randy's head. So you have Stephanie being in the head of Cody, getting Cody in the right space for this fight. And then you have Triple H getting Randy in the right headspace for this fight. For both of them to be in their most vicious going into WrestleMania. I think that would have made a lot more sense to kind of fix it, and you do a segment to where both of them, you see both Triple H and Stephanie get together, and then they're talking about what they just did and bringing these two to really give it their all into this WrestleMania match as a setup to make WrestleMania better. I think that would have made a lot more sense to me, I think. But I'm not for sure. Maybe I would have had different plans and stuff like that as far as that goes. But that would have been the only thing that I think would have fixed the Stephanie with Cody situation. Because, again, they didn't really have, like, a major relationship. And then Pat McAfee, to me, didn't have, like, a major relationship with Randy to make it make sense of why he would be the voice in his head. So it just seems random. It's not like it's a bad idea or whatever. And Pat McAfee's a bad person for it. He's not. He's a great promo person. He can speak well. And yeah, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense too much for what is happening in this story. But I'm like, yeah, I guess. Another one that kind of like throws me for a loop with how ridiculous the crap is the women's title match with Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley. It didn't make any sense to me when it came to her having B-Fab and Michin have her back. I think Jade Cargill needed it. She definitely needed henchwomen to have her back. She definitely needed that. I think it works best for her, and that's a character that she can kind of just use at her best abilities. So I think that works. It just doesn't make sense. If they would have had some way to really explain it, then I would have been on board with that. And if they displayed it a different way, I probably would have been on board with that. Because we just go from Michin fighting Jade to now being on her side without any context to it. Now, there could have been, I probably missed a segment or something that happened backstage, which I was thinking about that. I was like, it'd been interesting if they did have a segment and she, in the background, while someone else is having a promo with whoever the backstage commentator is. Um, in the background of that segment or that promo, you see Jay Cargo talking to Me Chin and B Fab, and then you go to a match or something with Rhea Ripley and Jade, or Rhea Ripley with somebody else. And Jade Cargo comes out after the match Rhea Ripley has, and then she attacks Rhea. And Rhea kind of fends her off a bit, and then she gets a weapon to try to go at Rhea, and Rhea's ready for her, and then B-Fab Michin comes out to back Rhea up when Jade has a weapon, maybe a chair or something like that. And so Jade kind of falls back, moves down, get out of the ring, and then B-Fab and Michin would jump Rhea at that point, and then Jade Cargo goes back into the ring. It'll be the surprise because Michin and Jade had their whole feud and stuff going on. So I think that would have worked a lot better than what they had going for this just popping up and showing up, and then we just accept it at the moment. But I don't know. Another one that I hate as far as these matchups go, I don't understand this story whatsoever because it doesn't make any freaking sense. And that's Gunther versus Seth Rollins. Everything leading up to this doesn't make the most sense. I've heard rumors that Braun Breaker was supposed to be cleared or whatever. If that was the case, I don't understand why you couldn't just bring Braun Breaker back to wrestle against Seth Rollins. That would have made a lot more sense, especially with the story and stuff that they're going with Seth Rollins taking out the Vision and everything. It would have made a lot more sense. It would have worked a lot better. But just adding Gunther in that is just popping up and just attacking Seth doesn't make the most sense because Seth wasn't doing anything to Gunther. Gunther has no large reason to go after Seth. Seth doesn't have a title for you to just jump him and go after him for. What would be the purpose? I didn't see anything regarding Gunther joining the Vision, nor did I see him getting paid by Paul Heyman. Maybe that happened. Maybe that is the case. That would make a lot more sense if he was paid or something from Paul Heyman. That would have made a lot more sense. But that doesn't make that much sense to me. Why he would insert himself into somebody else's feud. And that's how I kind of feel with all of these. These are insertions from people into a lot of these feuds that doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. They just do not make sense from what people are saying, and some people are talking about that they didn't want to do Braun Breaker if he was medically cleared because there's not enough story there, which is stupid because I think that's the story. Not enough story. That is the story. I don't know why that wouldn't be the case. But if it's been planned that it's supposed to be Gunther for weeks now, then why not fix it up for it to make sense why Gunther would involve himself into the match? Maybe we get that later on. Maybe we get more details to all this crap that's happening with these insertions into people's stories. But we'll see. We have to see until it happens, but it's just weird right now. I don't know. It's a lot of just weird stuff. The tag team divisions are just working as they are. This a whole bunch of just silliness, especially with the title with the Vision and the Usos and stuff. It's pretty just wild. The title also with R-Truth and them and the Miz and Danhausen them. And that whole segment is just, they are what they are. I kind of feel like some of this stuff when it comes to it, it is what it is type of deal. And yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing when it comes to it, but everything to me just seems like it is what it is. To me, the best stories right now that I've been feeling still could be a little bit more going on with it, but the best stories right now so far to me is Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor I think that makes the most sense. It works story wise and stuff that's going on. In Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. It's not the best again, but I think it works so far. It's been working pretty well. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comments below. If y'all like the video, please like on the video. If you'd like to subscribe and see some more of my takes and stuff on wrestling, please do. Appreciate y'all so much. Please do take care of yourselves and others. Peace, geekdom.